How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about BBIG. And we had a strong move on Friday, being up 28% on the day. We ended up getting some news in the after hours, then going into the pre-market. Of course, we did lose a little bit of gain, but I got a lot of messages saying, Dre, thank you for getting us into this play when it was trading in the low twos. So congratulations to those who took some profits. I know many of you are still in this play. You want a video? I'm coming out with it. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for BBIG. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at $3.29, being up 28.02%. On the low, it tested $2.99, and then on the high, testing $3.45. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 139.295 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 27.05 million shares. So we had well above the average in regards to volume, and we saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 65.39. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, but we are above the 21-day EMA, the 50-day, and as well as the 100-day. So on the recent news, we had that strong gap up, and we end up seeing a high on the Friday at 345. So if you're looking for a bullish move to the upside to continue, we need to break above 350. If we could break above 350, then the next level that you want to see BBIG get to is around 380. And if we could break through 380, that's where I want to see if we can get past the 200-day moving average at 392 to see if we can make a potential push going to $4. Now, if we end up having some weakness inside of the markets, I could see a pullback occurring. So like I mentioned previously, we did test the low at $2.99. And if we break through this level, the gap all the way to the downside takes us down to around $2.60. So this is something you want to be aware of because gaps do get filled. Now, if we don't end up filling in this gap, but we decide to have a pullback, I'll be very curious to see if we could hold up above 305. If we could hold 305 and consolidate there even for a couple of days, then I can look forward to seeing BBIG making a further move up, because then we know as far as for this recent spike, we still have buyers that are coming into the play. But if those buyers and bulls are not stepping in, then that's where I can see us filling in this gap to the downside around 260, and there's a possibility it could happen this week. But what I'm looking for is a strong move from BBIG, so let's see what happens. Let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for BBIG. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for May the 6th, we have QCM Cayman Limited that purchased 34,457 shares. And now when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 55.85%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 43.56 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 55,000, updated 9 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 33.76%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 5th, it was at 47.61, and then for the close of the 6th, it is at 55.85. So that is a significant increase right there. So definitely something we will continue to keep an eye on. And then we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 15.47%. BBIG does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution.
Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for BBIG. So we see on the inflow, it was at 85.05 million. And then on the outflow, it is at 84.02 million. So we had an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 1.36 million. On the medium, it was 57.77 million. And then on the small, it was 25.92 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 2.01 million. On the medium, it was 58.05 million. And then on the small, it was 23.96 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for May the 6th, we had an outflow of just over 657,000. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, we could see that we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then taking a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 74.07%. No surprises there. We did trade at above average volume. A lot of traders in this play, many people who are taking profits. Many have been holding BBIG for quite some time. So that's why I don't want you guys to be shocked. And we have weakness inside of these markets. And I felt like it did hold itself up fairly well despite losing some of those gains that it had in the after hours on the Thursday. So let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for BBIG, when it comes to the spin-off for Cryptide, here's how it goes. If you have 10 shares of BBIG, you will be able to get 1 share of Cryptide on May the 27th. But you have to be a shareholder of BBIG up to May the 18th. The great thing about it is you still hold on to your BBIG shares and you're paid off a dividend, which is going to be the Cryptide share. So I want to make sure we get that clear. I'll go over it again. For every 10 shares you have of BBIG, you will get 1 share of Cryptide. But you have to be a shareholder up until May the 18th, and that dividend, which is the Cryptide share, will be paid out on May the 27th. Now let's talk about the price action. So we saw a strong gap up, and we could clearly see that on the chart. So what does this look like? To the downside, to fill in that gap, it is around 260. And as far as the level that we want to see hold up is right around 298. So if 298 breaks, then we can go in to fill that gap at 260. So that is something that you want to be aware of because gaps do get filled almost 98% of the time. If you're looking for a move to the upside, BBIG needs to get above $3.50. If you can get above $3.50, that's where I'm going to be looking for that move going to 380. And we have the 200-day moving average, which is right around $3.92. If you can get above that, we can start seeing the stock trading around $4. So if you are a trader, I highly suggest you add this to your homework so you have a strategy before getting into the play. And for all of my investors out there, if you were inside of this stock while it was trading in the low twos and where I was saying, you know what, this is not a bad area to actually add to your position or buy into some stock, then I highly suggest you have a strategy set out for yourself. Do not let the crowd sway your decision. You have to look out for yourself. It is your money that you're putting into the market. And since you are on the winning side of your trade, the last thing that you want is to have a green trade go red. So maybe you might want to think about taking out your initial position. But if you are deciding to stay in it and ride it all the way through, you have to accept the responsibility of doing that. You can't place that blame on anyone else. I want to make sure I'm being clear about that because we've seen this many times before. Everyone is saying this stock is going to go to the moon and then it pulls all the way back and all we have left are bag holders and they're upset and frustrated. I don't want to see you go through that. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we could see that institutions have been buying up some shares as well, but we also know this stock is fairly volatile, so we do see some reduced positions and so on. And then when we took a look at the short interest information, BBIG does continue to have short squeeze potential. We saw above average volume on the Friday, so we want to see a continuation of that on the Monday and being able to see a strong move to reach those levels that we spoke about. On the Friday, the market was fairly weak. It wasn't strong. So the fact that BBIG was able to hold up was good to see. Now we want to see a continuation of that, because what would that show us? It will show us that there is demand in the market. We know as far as May the 18th, this is going to be a crucial date. We're going to be looking to see bulls, buyers wanting to get in, and if they really want to get a share of Cryptide, they're going to be buying up some BBIG. Let's be honest here. So that's why I say we want to see a strong move. And if we do not get it, at least we know what it looks like to the downside. We have a good idea of what the risks are involved. So now you know exactly what you need to do on your end to protect yourself. I always say this because I want to make sure you protect your profits. Don't let a green trade go red, and don't let someone out there on social media or the crowd say, well, you know what, continue to hold, because I'm going to tell you right now, they'll be the first ones to sell when the stock is not going in the direction where it wants to go. And the last thing that I want for you is the one being left behind. I want to be clear about this. Please don't let the euphoria and the excitement cloud your judgment. Protect your profits. Use that money. Move it into different plays. Do whatever the hell you want to do with it. Just don't give all of those gains back. It's just not worth it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how BBIG performs going into Monday. We'll talk soon.